Luke, obviously back in finals.
Yeah.
What's the emotion? What's the feeling this time around?
It's a good question. Did I think we could get back here this quick? I don't know. I was always hopeful. But now standing here a few days out from a elimination final against the Dogs, it's an amazing feeling. It's sort of justifies the reasons why I hung around and believe so much in this group and the coaching staff and the club, and I can't wait to get out there against the Dogs.
Given there was talk about rebuilds and a new coach coming in, did you think that at this point in your career that you would be back playing finals?
As I said, I think you believe in everyone at the footy club, the coaching staff, the players. Did I think at the time we had the players here to be able to play finals again? Not sure. I thought there was probably a few key players that we needed that, or we had internal development that was going to have to really shoot up, and fortunately that has sort of happened. I think some of our development from like Will Day and Dylan Moore and these sort of guys has been amazing, and it's probably one of the main reasons why we're back in this position and playing finals again. So as I said, I was always hopeful, and luckily for me at the moment it's reaffirmed that decision to stay, and so glad to be a part of it now.
Yeah, Luke, you mentioned that there was a bit of that facelift that happened. Do you feel, I'm sure it wouldn't have been easy at the time with senior players traded out and leaving the club. Do you feel like that was all justified? It's all big work?
Well, it's never easy making those sort of calls. You sort of get to the start of this year where you're zipping 5 and it's just like, oh my God, are we actually on the right track? The back end of last year I thought was really exciting, and then to get to here, and for someone in my position, it's like, okay, if this continues, it's like, are you out of the side? Is your career going to finish, and this could be my last year? Versus it turns around and you can continue to play a role, you can continue to develop these guys, and all of a sudden the future looks pretty bright, and I've got more energy, everyone around the place has got more energy, and you want to stay and be involved in it all. So I don't know whether it justifies it, but it means that the guys have stayed and have got to work. They're starting to get the benefits now.
That's where you're at. You want to stay and be involved next year?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. I think the only reason I feel like my footy's been probably my down year, I guess, of my career. I've been able to sort of slip into a role that I've been able to fulfil now and give back to these sort of young guys on and off the field. And my body's probably the only thing that I feel has let me down this year. So if I can get that right in the off-season, then I'd love to go again.
How frustrating has that been?
Yeah, pretty frustrating. I've been very lucky with my body. My body has hardly let me down across 11 or 12 AFL seasons. So to get to the start of the year, I just didn't respect it in the off-season. Every good year that I'd had been on the back of 85-90% of pre-season, get the work in, and then you'll work it out through the year. So for me to tell myself mentally that, okay, you need to pull back and do 60%, but you can still then have a really good year, I just couldn't get it through my own head. I was probably in my own way, to be honest. So I learned some pretty harsh lessons at the start of this year that I've got to listen to my body a little bit more and maybe be a little bit smarter if I want to continue my career into 17th, 18th year, and try and work out, is it like a Cam McAvoy story where you can do a little bit less but still get yourself into a really good spot to perform.
How important is your role as a final psychologist?
It's an interesting one because you don't want to fill their heads with too much, like, oh, this could happen, or the pre-game warm-up's going to be a bit different, or you've got a welcome to country and the anthem that you've got to get through as well, so you sort of got 5 minutes of extra nervous anxiety before the ball's bounced. So you don't want to fill them with too much information. But anyone who comes to me and is open to asking questions, and I'm always happy to chat away. And even things like a night routine, what does that look like? What mistakes have I made in the past with a night routine? Do you have a sleep? Do you not have a sleep? I remember before the 2012 grand final, I laid there for 2.5 hours before I could get to sleep, and it just did my head in. And then I remember speaking to Andrew Russell the next morning. He's like, mate, it's fine. Like, you're resting. If you don't have a wink of sleep that night, you're still well rested and you can still perform your role that next day. And then as soon as you get into a mindset like that, then before you know it, you're waking up the next morning and it's game day.
What about the heat and energy of 90,000?
Yep.
These kids, I've had a little look at it with a dusty game, I guess.
Yep.
But do you help them through that, or just hope that they thrive?
You can certainly help them, especially when they go to the bench or breaks, when you get a chance to really reset. I think the main message for the heat and finals footy and it's contested and all this sort of stuff. So I think you prefer to lose playing the way we want to play than lose going against it like a different style. So I think that'll be the main message. Continue to stick to what we know has worked over this last 12 to 15 weeks, and we'd prefer to lose playing that way than going away from our style and game plan and getting beat that way.
Just back on the decision to stick around,
yep.
The Giants was the one that was heavily linked to you. Was there a moment in last year's final series as they progressed deep that you thought that could have been me? Or did you sort of have that given you haven't played finals for 5-6 years here?
Yeah, it's hard not to think like that sometimes, but at the same time, you sort of got your own stuff going on and focusing on the off season and trying to get yourself right and what else can I do around this footy club to help these young guys get back there. So yeah, you look on with a bit of envy at times, but now we're playing finals again, and it was the best decision for my family at the time, and yeah, I'm very happy with it. Like a one club player for me has been like high on the priority list, so it would have it would have been a huge call for me to go.
What about game 300 priority list?
Yeah, let's not think about that just yet. We've got to get through this week, but yeah, it'll be a special milestone to get there if that happens, and yeah, we'll deal with that next week if we get there.
Last one, guys. And just with your body, are you
yep.
sort of just not resigned, but are you expecting to sub roll this final series? Is that, or can you feel like you can provide more, or are you happy and content doing it?
Yeah, it'll just be a conversation with Mitch. So he's been very good to me this year. I had that sort of 5 or 6 weeks off early in the year, and then it's been about trying to then manage and what can I get out in this back end. Can I play 4 games in a row, or full games? I don't really know. I'd have to see. Like I've pulled up sore after full games before, but then I've had 4 in a row where I was really good. So it's just an unknown. So we'll just take it. Yeah, each week I'll be honest with Sam. He'll be honest with me, and as I said, whatever role I can play for this team, whether it's on or off the field, I'll be doing.